idea of failure, I think, lit a fire inside of me.
If you're a fan of the channel, you might already know that I studied film in college. I studied the history, the theory, and hands-on craft of making movies. During that time, I fell in love with European cinema, from Bergman's Wild Strawberries to Godard's Breathless. And cinema is what brought me to Paris back in 2011. From the moment I arrived, everything felt like a scene from a black and white Godard film. Like I was suddenly living inside the French New Wave. And maybe that's why I've always seen Paris this way, through the lens of a camera. But there was a moment where I almost left. I almost went back to the US and walked away from it all.
I got into this deep depression where I basically wanted to give up on everything that I was doing and give up on Paris.
But instead, I stayed to make a short film called Margot. A project that ended up changing everything and quietly kept me in Paris and gave me a renewed hope. Today, I'm meeting someone who has built a community in Paris around that feeling through French cinema.
I came to Paris because I figured after I went to film school, I could either go to LA, to New York, or stay in Austin. I thought, why not try my chances in Paris? I figured I have nothing to lose. I was working freelance. So I was like, you know, it's now or never. I could either go and try my chances or never have this opportunity in the world again.
So Manon, you are the founder of Lost in Frenchlation, which started in 2015. You've brought together more than, was it 50,000 spectators?
Yes.
And you've screened over 500 films.
Exactly.
I want to know, how did your love for cinema begin when you were little?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a director, like anyone who works in cinema, who wants to work in cinema. Both my parents worked in cinema, so they were showing me a lot of films when I was young. My mom, she used to record films on videotapes, like VHS, you know, the old
Yes, the old school.
videotapes.
I don't think some people are going to know what that
Yeah.
is, but okay.
Well, it was a thing
Yeah.
back in the days, and every night I would go and take a tape and watch the movie.
Yeah, what were some of the movies that you saw growing up?
I think my favorite movie of all times, and the one I was watching over and over again, was Les Demoiselles de Rochefort, The Young Girls of Rochefort.
Yes.
I love Jacques Demy, the director. I love the music by Michel Legrand. I played on the piano. And then another film I watched a bit later, but it's the film that made me want to work in cinema. You have to be at least 15 when you watch it. I don't know if you know it. It's pretty niche. It's called Betty Blue.
No.
The French title is 37 le matin.
Okay, no.
Uh,
Who's the director?
It's Jean-Jacques Benex. Okay. It's from the 80s, so it has this very 80s vibe with the music and the colors and the actors. I have it tattooed on my arm, actually, here.
Cool.
That's a part of a poster.
Yeah. And how do you think growing up in Paris influenced also your world of cinema?
I was born in Montmartre. Montmartre is very cinematic. When you walk around in Montmartre, you can feel like you are in a film. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that definitely influenced.
Did you feel like you were in a movie when you
sometimes? But I think Paris is a bit romanticized in foreign films mostly. I mean, there's a lot of things in Paris that we don't show in movies, like, you know, crowded metros, the size of the apartments, the bureaucracy, and Paris is much more multicultural and diverse, I think, than what we see in the movies, obviously. I lived very close from a cinema called Studio 28, and this is where one of the scenes from Amélie was shot, you know, when she goes to the movie on a Friday night. And this is where we hosted our first event.
Oh.
I went to ask the owner, can we show Amélie with English subtitles? And he was like, yeah, let's try. And it was a big success, and that's how we kept going.
Okay, well, yeah, so take me back to the origins of Lost in Frenchlation. You started with Amélie,
Yeah.
showing English subtitles there.
Yeah.
And then how did things progress from there?
From there, we started to have one event per month, and then two, and then three, and then one per week. And we started to work with many other independent art house cinemas in Paris. Today, we work with 10 different venues.
And did you just approach them and say, hey, I have this concept, I want to screen films?
They were a bit surprised at the beginning. I mean, French people can be a bit narrow-minded sometimes, especially in the cinema industry.
Yeah.
And they were like, English speakers, they don't want to come to the movies. They want to see the Eiffel Tower. You know, this kind of cliche. We proved them wrong, but at the beginning, it was really hard. It was hard to find cinemas who were willing to work with us. Copies of French films with English subtitles.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard to find. And I didn't know anything about the industry. I studied film, analyzing films,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be an editor. So I wanted to be
Okay.
on the side of making films, but I had no idea about distribution, production, etc.
Why do you care that people are watching French cinema or international movies with English subtitles?
Because it's such a big part of French culture. I think if you can't go to see a French film when you're in France, you're missing a really big part of the culture. I mean, France is the home country of cinema. It's
Yeah.
where cinema was born in 1895. And yeah, it's the country of the French New Wave. We're showing more and more classics now. At the beginning, we were only showing recently released French films, but we realized that people were really eager to see classic films on the big screen as well. It also helps people to learn French, to hear French in action. And for us, it's also a social hub. We have a lot of our spectators who are expats, international students, or even tourists who just arrived in Paris. They don't know anyone, they don't speak the language, and they really come here to make some friends.
Are French people coming to your screenings as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
we have some French people too, but it's very diverse. We have more than 50 different nationalities of people coming to our events. So not necessarily only English speakers, but people who speak better English than French, obviously. So we do have a lot of young people, and we're really happy about that because
A lot of students?
yeah, a lot of Erasmus students on study abroad programs come to our events.
I wish that I would have known about you guys sooner. When I decided to move to Paris, it was because I had, like 3 or 4 choices. I could stay in the city where I was, I could move to LA to do film there, or New York. And I was like, why not Paris, where cinema was born, where, they did the French New Wave, and I started learning French and everything. And I love films because they're so diverse, and you get all these stories. That's humanity. Humanity is story.
Cinema was created to be experienced in a cinema. That was the initial idea of the Lumiere brothers. They had this idea of having a machine that could both record images and project images to a wide audience. So if you're watching a movie at home, it's not really experiencing cinema because it's supposed to be a collective experience. You're supposed to be surrounded by people, sharing emotions with people around you, laughing, crying. A lot of movies we show open consciousness on certain aspects of French culture for our audience, like a lot of things they would never think of. And when they come to our events afterwards, they tell me, I would have never thought this is how it was in France. Films about justice, for example. There was a film called Saint-Omer, and it sparked a big debate among our audience. I don't know, even the humor. we show a lot of cult comedies, from Le Splendide, for example, like Les Bronzés font du ski or Le Père Noël est une ordure. I think these are very precious to understand French humor.
Yeah, my husband introduced me to Les Trois Frères. I was like laughing.
Yeah, you
I
liked
was
it?
dying laughing because I was like, I can't believe this film exists, and it's like just so funny, and you get like kind of a peek into French culture. Do you think that the French New Wave still has an influence on Paris or cinema nowadays?
Well, I think the essence of French New Wave was freedom. So in a sense, I think that French cinema still takes inspiration from French New Wave in the experimenting DIY aspects.
Yeah.
Paris today is much more diverse than in these movies, and I think that's more interesting. And there are a lot of movies today that show you a different Paris, like people you don't really notice, and stories that are invisible. For example, do you know l'histoire de Suleiman?
No.
It's a film about immigrant workers working for Uber Eats.
Okay.
And that's an excellent film. Completely shifts your perspective of looking at the city, and it takes you out of your bubble, you know, and I think that's what cinema is for.
It sounds heavy.
It's super heavy.
Yeah.
I could not order on Uber Eats since I've seen this film, which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah. I've got some rapid fire questions. What is your favorite film for a rainy day in Paris?
Les parapluies de Cherbourg.
Les parapluies
The
Cherbourg.
umbrellas of Cherbourg.
Your favorite film that feels like Paris to you?
Paris by Cédric Clapiche.
Your favorite film about French cuisine?
Vendieu. Holy cow. It's about Comté. Cheese. Comté cheese. Hein.
Yeah. And they're like, what county? Favorite film you think everyone should watch before coming to Paris?
Partir un jour.
Favorite film that changed the way you see cinema?
Oh, I know. Rock'n'Roll with Guillaume Canet and Marion Cotillard. It's like a satire of the cinema world, and it's hilarious.
What's your favorite film that captures love in Paris the best?
I would say Jeux d'enfant. Love Me If You Dare. It's also with Guillaume Canet and Marion Cotillard.
Thank you.
I think staying in Paris was more than Paris itself. I think it was definitely about me proving something to myself that I could do it. I figured I'd rather come to Paris and try and fail than stay here in the US. So, in other words, I had to come and try to live here. I think that, idea of failure, I think lit a fire inside of me because it motivated me then to want to make my film, to want to try to find more work. I think you can get stuck living in Paris and you get stuck in this rut because it's different than when you're here as a tourist and you're, enjoying every minute of your trip. And I think when you're living here, it's really trying and it's really challenging and there's so many ups and downs. When you're living in Paris, it creates this pressure cooker environment and things are intensified. I don't think I would have stayed in Paris if I hadn't made my short film.
My name is Celine. I'm a filmmaker. I live in Paris. I wrote a short film that I'm going to produce called Margot.
I think that widened my network, my community, and little by little, I think these things they eventually, they're part of my story now, but they helped with that evolution of who I am today, I think.
What is next for Lost in Frenchlation?
I don't know, we're starting to export in other cities. In Paris, we're going to work with more and more cinemas. Ideally, in the future, I would love that anyone who doesn't speak French can attend a French film with English subtitles on any given day at any given time. So either we work with more and more cinemas and we do more and more screenings, or we open our own cinema. But my dream would be to have French movies with subtitles in many different languages and having a bar and a restaurant where people can hang out and meet each other. But that's a dream.
Oh, that's a beautiful dream. Maybe that's what cinema has always been for me. A way of understanding people and places, and myself inside those places. Talking with Manon today, I kept thinking about how film doesn't just reflect Paris. It shapes the way we choose to live here. Maybe in my own way, that's what's kept me in this city too. Not just the films I watched, but the ones I ended up making and the life I chose to stay and build here.